President Biden rallied the UAW workers in Michigan. This happened on Tuesday as the strike moves into its 13th day today. And now Tesla CEO Elon Musk weighing in on what's taking place in Detroit, criticizing workers' demands as a, quote, sure way to drive GM, Ford, and Chrysler bankrupt in the fast lane. For a closer look at that fast lane, let's bring in Walter Isaacson. He's always in the fast lane. Nice to see you, sir.
Good to see you again.
Author, of course, of the new book, Elon Musk. That's the name of the book. He is Walter Isaacson. We should also say he's an advisory partner at Perla Weinberg, professor at Tulane University, and a CNBC contributor. And I believe the book is #1 on the New York Times bestseller list.
Not because of me, but because of the interest in Musk.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So let's talk about this. Do you believe, or I guess, what do you believe, A, is the right answer for the UAW and the automakers, and do you think Elon's right?
I think this is not just about the wages right now. It's about the fast move we're doing to electrification, EVs. And that changes everything. If you're building an EV, it's at least 30% and will soon be 50% less time on the assembly line, less work to be done. Likewise, the batteries aren't unionized. So as you make this transition to electric vehicles, it's very disruptive. For Musk, he's trying to bring out a $25,000 global car, compete with BYD. He's going to do it both in northern Mexico, but in Austin, this new line. And I think if the legacy automakers don't figure out how to make this transition, that's what the strike's about, is figuring that out.
So when you see President Biden standing with the UAW workers, do you say that's right, that's wrong, given where we are? I mean, I think there's two issues here. We're at a time where he's pushing EVs, which makes this all that more difficult. At the same time that he's saying we want to be a country where everything is manufactured here. BYD, what do they pay, $7 an hour? Right?
Yeah, and the UAW is now, what, $65 an hour or so, $110,000 a year, which would go way up on the strike. And this is a complex thing that you all debate all the time here. But if you can do $7 an hour in China and $65, $70 here, that's going to be a problem. Likewise, automation is going to be a problem. Likewise, electrification is being a problem. So in some ways, it's a bit like, King Canute railing against the tides. You got to figure out where the tides are going to hit.
And then how concerned do you think, and maybe this is true of Tesla or Rivian or some of the other automakers, there is a knock-on effect, which is to say that even though those are companies that don't have unions, that if, in fact, these unions capture much higher prices, it does press the price higher everywhere else.
Oh, absolutely. A Tesla worker may make $45 an hour, but they get stock options. And that's confusing if the stock's at, 100, then 400, then 250.
And there was a period of time where clearly Tesla workers, even though they weren't unionized, were getting paid much more, frankly, than the unionized workers were at GM. Having said that, there's a period of time where the stock was at a different place where it is today.
Yeah, I think there was a period of time where a worker at a Tesla plant was making more than you because the stock was
No, not
more than Jeff.
Yeah, more than me.
But that's a complicated thing. Do you want stock options? And Musk got in trouble at one point when they're trying to unionize a plant, and the Fremont plant. He said, but you might lose your stock options, and that was considered unfair labor practice. I think that your initial question is, yes, it's going to put pressure on Tesla, Rivian, and everybody else. If there's a significant wage increase for the UAW workers, then there's going to have to be that for the Tesla workers, even if they're getting stock options.
Could they ever unionize those plants, too? I mean,
well, there was a big drive to unionize. No, I don't think any electric vehicle maker plants are unionized. I know no Tesla plants are. There was a big push to do it in California, and it failed on this vote. But there will be another push. I am absolutely sure that the UAW at some point will be trying to unionize electric vehicle plants.
They lose the whole.
But batteries, by the way, are not infuriated generally in the UAW contract.
That's a big sticking point
right now. And there's no engine to build in an electric vehicle.
Ford infuriated the UAW yesterday, I think it was, or the day before, when they said that new plant with China, they were just going to not build it, the plant there, because of these very issues. They were on the right. There are people. It's a project with China, so the China hawks are mad about it. The union is mad about it if it's not going to be unionized.
And by the way, the automakers are getting left behind. Like 90% of these new vehicle EVs are Tesla. Tesla sold more than 1 million, I think, in the first 6 or 7 months of this year. So it's leaving the older automakers behind. And with Ford once again saying, we're not sure we're in this business, we're not sure we're building batteries, this is the larger mess that surrounds the UAW.
But it could, the mess could get even messier. And I understand there's an election coming up, and you'd like the working class, and Trump was going to go there anyway. Probably I understand that, and I understand student loan forgiveness. It all, there's things that you do. But one thing that I've always complained about with public unions, when a Democratic governor says we're going to get you a great contract, the governor is there to protect the taxpayers' interests and not to let the state get overwhelmed by pension costs, and not to promise the moon to the public employees that he's bargaining with. And then they usually contribute, the unions, to getting the same guy or gal reelected again. This was similar to me. If Biden is there saying, or President Biden is there saying, you need to get this deal, you need $40. If he bankrupts the big three, taxpayers are once again going to be bailing them out.
Well, this was Musk's point, which is you'll bankrupt the big three. Now,
with the help of the guy who's supposed to be protecting the taxpayers
I'm not.
I know you never do, but
with you in arguing this, but it is true that union workers and the workers are not keeping pace with the profits being made.
I understand
so
that, should the president be there arguing on the side of the workers when he's representing everybody? He's representing, corporate interests. He's representing.
You're out of my field of expertise.
Oh, you always punt when you could say something that's right in front of your face.
Biden is fighting for the people on the assembly line whose wages haven't caught up,
who could end up losing their job because they bankrupt the companies.
And there are knock-on effects, and that's what Musk said. If you bankrupt the big three, as it happened to 2 out of the big three in the past, then BYD will come in with its cars. Tesla will be making a $25,000 car.
I just don't think we can look away and not confront the real issues, Walter, because we could stop it from happening if we could actually do some good.